My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it is me, and I am in the building. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to At the Table Podcast, a virtual table where we discuss all things young adulting. My name is Fikayo, and thank you so much for having me in your ears. Hello. Happy Friday. How are you? We are sitting in the beginning of September. The weather is starting to cool down, and I'm feeling great. I hope you're feeling good too. I'm really excited for today's episode. We are going to cover 5 or 6 study methods. And the reason why I really wanted to do this episode as well, because school just started. And this episode is not just for students that are in undergrad, but also master's and graduate programs as well, because school doesn't, there's no age range to school. So I really wanted to cover this episode because I know that when I was in school, I felt like it was like the YouTube gurus that were kind of talking about this, but it kind of felt like, I don't know, it kind of felt like they were trying to make money fast on us. But with me, there's no money to be made. I am just here studying methods because also I need them too, because I am a student as well. So I just wanted to be able to put this resource out there into the internet. Also go over these resources just for myself as well. Because my goal is straight A's this semester. Okay, you guys, fingers crossed. I will get straight A's. And maybe with this podcast episode, you'll get straight A's as well. Okay, are you ready? I don't think today's episode is going to be too long, but I think it's going to be pretty cool. And we get to sit together and talk. So I'm winning. Okay, so this first method is called the Pomodoro Technique. I've heard it before, you've heard it before, and I think there's even an app for it. But basically, it's these cycles where you study for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, and you do this over and over and over. I'm not the kind of person I would work for, because I'm the type of person that once I get into the flow, I have to stay there. And it would just disrupt me. But I understand why this probably can be useful for some people. And it really, I think even with studying, it just all comes down to knowing yourself and knowing who you are. But I'm sure I have a sister who, she can sit for a little bit, but then she needs a break. She can sit for a little bit and then she needs a break. So this technique would naturally just be good for her, because literally that is what you're doing. You study for an allotted amount of time and then you give yourself a break afterwards. And I assume that the break itself is the reward method. So that's why it kind of works. But I don't know. Do you know yourself? Do you know if this will work for you? We have 5 more others. So let's see. But this is a pretty good one. I know that they have apps on the App Store for this, and they're really cool visuals that they put into the apps to make it more appealing, I guess. Oh, also YouTube videos. There are YouTube videos literally for this technique. If you look it up, the Pomodoro Technique, Pomodoro Technique. There's literally YouTube videos of people doing their work with you. And going through the time with you and taking breaks with you. So if you want to do it with someone, do it through that. Okay, so this next method I think is pretty cool, and it's called active recall. So instead of just passively reading, you will test yourself on the material regularly. This reinforces memory retention by actively engaging with the content. I think this is pretty cool. This is something that's probably a bit more my swing. How I see myself applying this is maybe I make flashcards, right? And I carry the flashcards around, And during the day, whenever maybe I'm waiting for someone to get out or I'm sitting with my cousins, like I could just go over the flashcards. That way, it's always with me, it's always in front of me, and I'm constantly engaging with the content, as I previously said. What about you? What do you think? Do you think that this would work for you? Do you think this is a method that you would naturally do well with? How could you implement this in your life? I don't know, I'm trying to engage people now, but I don't know, do you go out and you give your friends these flashcards? Do you make a digital flashcard, and you study the digital flashcard before you go to sleep every night? Do you constantly have your notebook with you? Do you try to associate the things that you're learning into your everyday life? Like, how can you, I think active recall is not only about saying the content, but I think it's also bringing the content from your book to real life and having it sitting in front of you. How can you do that? These are all really things I think that we should think about, especially as learners and leaders, to make us better in our crafts and our skills. Okay, so on to the next method. And this method is an interesting one. It's actually one I use here at the podcast a lot, but it's the Feynman technique. I'm not sure if I'm saying these correctly, but I'll put all of these techniques down in the description below. And essentially it just says, teach what you've learned to someone else in simple terms. And if you struggle to explain it, revisit the material until it's clear. I think that's a really good one. That makes sense. If I can teach you what I know, that means I know it. I can't teach on what I don't know. I can't speak on the things that are unclear to me. And if I'm explaining it to you in a way that's unclear, then maybe I don't know it enough. That could be it. That could be it. So I think that's pretty cool. I will definitely be using that. I try to do it already as I learn things and I bring things to the episode. It just shows me whether I have a good grasp on what I'm trying to talk about. And also it allows me to know if I know how to articulate it, because ultimately, I mean, it can sit in my mind, right? But sometimes, like when things are seated in my mind, it's not clear enough yet. So if I'm able to sit down and articulate whatever I'm saying, I think at that point I have a pretty good grasp of it. So that's great. How can you use it in your life? I don't know. Do you teach your siblings? Do you teach your parents? Can you teach your other classmates? That's what I would probably do. I wish I did this more in undergrad, because I feel like this is also, I don't know, like I had this issue with studying where it was kind of like, it feels like it's just till the next test or just for the semester. But I think when you're learning to teach, it kind of gives a different incentive, and it kind of gives you another reason to learn the material aside from just for the fact that, yeah, I need to pass the next test or I need to pass this semester. It's kind of like, oh no, like also although I do need to pass this semester and although I do need to make it to the next test, I also want to be able to teach this to my sister as well. Maybe I think my sisters need this skill and this knowledge. So it kind of just gives you a different motive. And that could be really good for some people. Like for me, I'm one of those people who I like things have to be emotional for me to do it very well. Sometimes it doesn't have to be logical. Sometimes it doesn't have to make sense, but as long as it's emotional and it really, really tugs on my heart, oh yeah, I'm going to get it done. So this would really, really work for me. Okay, so on to the next one. And the next one is mind mapping. Okay, let me explain it first before I start talking about it. But so mind mapping, you're basically creating a visual map of your notes, showing the different concepts and how they connect. And this method works well for people who are learning how to get better with visual aids. Now, I went to school for IT. And no, this would not work for me. And it wouldn't work for me for several reasons. But I see a lot of the biology nurses kind of doing this with Goodreads or Good Notes on an iPad, and they look so nice. Like the art, the drawing, the skill, the mind. It's so nice. But I think because I studied IT, there's a disconnect there. Maybe the people in nursing and in these degrees and in these fields need these kind of things, but no, for me, it actually wouldn't go well because I have too much of a creative brain, not saying that other people don't, but I would just get entirely too lost with like making diagrams and making hearts, and having everything look really aesthetically pleasing, especially on paper or on digital paper. Like I'd get lost in that. So I actually, when I'm trying to study, like for real, I do try to stay away from things, from creativity, really, because if you allow me to get creative, I can go too far, and then I've lost the plot. So, but this might work for other people. You might be a nursing major, you might be a biology major, and I don't know, like maybe you have a better attention span than I do, and you are able to really concentrate, especially when things look good. My third sister is really like that. Her Good Notes, I think that's what it's called on iPad, the app that people use to take notes. It's so nice, so beautiful, so aesthetically pleasing. I wish I could do it. I couldn't do it. And it really works for her. So this is a technique that if it sounds good and it sounds like it's something you'd like to explore, and on the iPad, it's a different experience, by the way. I think you should. Now, this last method, I'm really excited to cover because it's actually pretty new to me. I think I got introduced to it on TikTok, and it was like nursing students and lawyers, really lawyers, who were talking about this really cool, new, innovative study method that really worked for them and helped them get through law school and med school. And it's the AGAKI Method. And this is a 5-step method for learning, where 1, you absorb the material. 2, you generalize the information. 3, you apply it to different situations. 4, you test your knowledge. And 5, you improved based on feedback. I like this. I haven't tried it yet, but I do like how tucked the steps are. I do like that there are steps. For someone like me, you could just tell me to absorb the material and I might stay there. You might, and then maybe I might absorb the material, but have I generalized the information? Like, does the information even make sense to me? Can I apply it to different situations? Have I tested my knowledge? Most of the time, I haven't done any of these things. And this is the study method I actually plan on implementing in this new school year, because I think it's all rounds. Like, it's not about, do you know the material, but can you apply it to different places and different situations? Have you tested your knowledge? Do you know that you know what you know? And if not, you go back again. I like this method a lot, and I really wanted to bring it to the podcast because maybe from listening to this, you guys might hear and be like, hey, I haven't heard that study method before. Let me look into it. And I really hope you do, because again, I told you that we are getting straight A's this semester. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We are going to kick butt, and it's going to be a good semester for us. So I don't know, like, I just wanted us to be able to do this. I wanted to know that I did my part so that you can do your part. And also it goes back to me because I need to do my part as well. But yeah, thank you so much for having me in your ears. You guys, I need you to rate this episode and this podcast. It's really important. Also, I have a comment section, especially for Spotify now. Oh my goodness, we can talk now. So please comment and let me know what study technique you might be using in the future. What else? Follow the podcast's Instagram. This way you stay up to date with everything podcast, and stay tuned. I'm really excited, and we'll see what comes. All right. Wait. Don't forget to laugh really loud and pray all the time. Bye-bye.